So hopefully you had a chance to take the movement challenge that we sent out earlier in the week. Remember, it was that sit to stand challenge that you had to get up off the floor, get down to the floor and off the floor without using your hands. If you had any trouble with that, like I did, one of your issues may be hip mobility. Hip mobility is the range of motion and the flexibility that your hip joints are able to go through. And I have my own issue, and I'm going to show you some tips on how to improve your hip mobility, things that you can do at home and work on gaining some mobility. So I'm going to start with a lacrosse ball, and I'm going to start with the first exercise up on the table. I'm going to take this lacrosse ball, I'm going to put it under my butt cheek, and I'm going to find a spot in that butt cheek area that's really sore. And usually you can find a good spot in that piriformis muscle. Once you find that spot, you're going to let your body weight rest down on that ball and just go through some hip openers. Just moving the hip open and closed and open and closed. You're going to do this for about 1 to 2 minutes and make sure to do each side. The ball will help work out some of the soft tissue in that glute muscle. There's a good amount of tissue back there, and this is a nice little warm-up for our next exercise. The next exercise that we're going to do is a figure 4 stretch. So I'm going to sit in the chair, I'm going to cross my ankle over my opposite thigh, and I'm going to lean forward. And this is a good stretch for the piriformis and glute muscles in that crossed-legged hip. So from here, I'm going to lean forward gently, and I'm going to feel that stretch in my buttocks. I may rotate my body to one side to get a good stretch, and then rotate towards that bent knee to get a different stretch in the back of the hip. I'm going to hold that position for about 20 to 30 seconds, feeling a nice good stretch, and then back off. I'm going to do it about 3 to 4 times on each side. My next stretch is the opposite. It is internal rotation. So I've got my front leg in that figure 4, but my back leg is what we call internally rotated. So I'm going to get into this position, and I'm going to hold it with my body upright. Now you may find that you're not able to get your body all the way straight. That's okay if you need to use a hand down on the floor to kind of prop yourself up. But the goal is to get that body nice and straight. You can lean forward just slightly. You're mainly working on the back leg into that internal rotation. You may feel it in the front and the top side of your hip. Again, you're going to want to hold it about 20 to 30 seconds, come out of it, and do this 3 or 4 times, and then make sure that you get it on the other side as well. The last stretch I'm going to show you is working on deep squat position. So part of that sit to stand test was getting into that squat, that deep squat, getting your butt to the ground. So what I'm going to have you do is find something stationary, something that you can hold on to as you lower down into a squat. That just makes it a little easier, and you can control and kind of work on the mobility versus the standing balance and strength. So I'm going to get down as low as I can. You may not be able to make it this low. That's fine. Just get as low as your hips will permit you, and then hold it for a good 20, 30 seconds. And you can come out of that position, repeat. If you get really good at this or you're close enough, you're going to put your elbows on the inner part of your knees and push out. So you're going to get a nice stretch into that external rotation again. All of this will help you work on getting into a deep squat, getting on and off the floor, and it's a really nice way to get those hips opened up. So give these a try, see how you do with these hip exercises, and then try that sit to stand movement challenge again and see if it gets any easier. I bet it will.